Okay, does everybody see it? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, is everyone ready?
Yes.
Okay, let's see. Good afternoon. My name is Isa, and I'm here with Brianna, and Katrina, and we'll be discussing the marketing strategies of scrumptious Kraft grilled cheese sandwiches and oozy caramel Ghirardelli squares, and how their olfaction and gustation components are perceived.
Hi, I'm Brianna Wingard, and I'll discuss the shared auditory features of the Kraft and Ghirardelli food commercials. The Kraft commercial features the sizzling American cheese on the pan, which bubbles at the edges. This is an auditory component that captivates consumers to purchase this product. Another effective auditory component is the voice that whispers, "I may not be able to tell time, but I know what time it is. It's grilled cheese time." Similar to the sizzling cheese in this commercial, the Ghirardelli food commercial features the sound of the chocolate wrapper opening and crinkling, which is a classical conditioning signal that makes the audience members salivate in anticipation of the chocolate caramel taste. The Ghirardelli advertisement also includes a voice that exclaims, "Make s'mores a bite better," which helps the audience pair the Ghirardelli chocolate with graham crackers and marshmallows in their minds. I'll now turn it over to Katrina to discuss the shared visual components of these commercials.
Hi, I'm Katrina, and I'll discuss the shared visual features of the food advertisements. So the Kraft commercial shows the sizzling grilled cheese bubbling and releasing smoke, which reminds the audience of the taste and smell of the cheese. In other words, this visual component is tied to the gustation and olfaction components. Similarly, the Ghirardelli commercial includes the caramel oozing out of the chocolate square as it's pulled apart. Both of these advertisements feature close-up shots of the food. Also, they both include family members to reveal that food brings people together. The sizzling cheese creates a familiar feeling for the American audience, and the oozing caramel triggers a longing for decadence. Let's now hear from Brianna and Isa about the difference in these commercials' advertising techniques.
So we'd now like to mention the unique technique of each advertisement that was used for the purpose of tempting its audience. For the Kraft commercial, this technique is its simplicity. The commercial contains a single shot of a grilled cheese sandwich, and the message still manages to be conveyed. The oozing grilled cheese sandwich is presented by itself on a griddle. A melted, bubbly Kraft American cheese single is sandwiched between two thick slices of toasted bread in the midst of cooking. This single image allows the audience to really focus on the product and identify that the cheese is what is being advertised.
As for the Ghirardelli commercial, the tempting technique used was relating to family life. The caramel chocolate was advertised in a way that most Americans could relate to. The thought of sitting around a fire and making s'mores with your friends and family is a comforting one. Throw in a Ghirardelli caramel chocolate square twist, and the relatable experience seems even more enticing.
And the techniques featured in these commercials we picked bring together all three senses of smell, flavor, and taste, which creates a unique sensory experience. While reflecting on these techniques, we notice that much of our sensory input comes from our vision. That is, our eyes take in the images presented on the screen and then convert those signals into salivary ones, thus stimulating both systems at once. We register the melted cheese and warm caramel as something enticing, which makes us want to taste it. Without these visual cues, much of the experience would be lost.
In a similar vein, the colors used in the commercial help to stimulate the senses as well. The warm brown chocolate and the bright yellow cheese make the food seem much more appealing. We also focused on the language used in the commercial. In the Kraft commercial, there is a child whispering the catchphrase at the end, which brings about a sense of nostalgia. We immediately think of the childhood snacks and sandwiches using Kraft cheese, so we end up perceiving the food as family-oriented and safe. Not only that, but we usually do not hear things whispered in commercials, only said in a regular, usually adult voice. The combination of both the child's voice and the reduced whisper surprises and delights us, giving an extra boost of emotion right before the commercial ends.
As for the subjectivity of perception, we thought about individual factors that might limit or affect viewers' interpretations of the commercials. For instance, how accurate your vision is. The more blurry your vision, the less likely you'll be able to see the fine details in the bread of the sandwich, or the way the fire is slightly out of focus in the background of the Ghirardelli commercial. This can impact your subjectivity because you might find the commercial less impactful than others. Another issue that might affect a person's subjectivity is what device they watch the commercial on. For instance, a person watching from a mobile phone might have less of a viewing experience than a person watching from a laptop, for example. Other differences might come from watching with headphones versus without, which could create a large disparity in the way an individual interprets the audio, as one is generally louder. How bright your screen device is can also change the viewing experience because the dim screen will lessen the colors of the food and could therefore make its effect less rousing. These issues could all influence people's subjectivity when watching these commercials.
Another aspect we talked about was the phenomenology of each commercial. That is, your preference for sweet or salty things based on personal experience. We thought that this might also influence people's opinions of the commercials because they would naturally gravitate towards the type of food they liked more. So, in this sense, phenomenology can also affect how people interpret these commercials. After watching these two commercials, we talked about how successful they would be in other cultures and countries. Our thoughts were that people may not like Kraft products as much since not all cultures eat cheese or dairy products. For instance, people in East Asian cultures don't usually eat dairy products. They might prefer alternate products like soy milk instead. However, in Western, American, and European cultures, cheese and dairy are quite prevalent. People in these cultures might prefer to eat Kraft more, simply because of the cultural importance surrounding cheese products. Chocolate is more commonly eaten in countries as compared to cheese, so the Ghirardelli commercial might be more successful in that respect. There are many different ways to implement chocolate in foods, so it may be more enjoyable for people of different cultures to try a Ghirardelli chocolate. Thus, we can see the differences between cheese versus chocolate when it comes to cultural preferences.
Those were our thoughts on the Kraft and Ghirardelli commercials. We hope you enjoyed our discussion, and please go enjoy some chocolate or cheese for yourself now.